Hello friends, welcome back. Today we are going to continue with our advanced communicate by emitting. Emit is the most common way of communicating you will use. When you emit something from a server to I/O, you set an event's name with the data to all the connected sockets. A good example of this concept would be emitting the current count of connected users each time a new user connects. Start by adding a variable to keep track of the users just before where you are currently listening for connections. So let current users equal 0. So I'll scooch this over. Just before where you are currently listening for connections. So you're listening for connections on your server, and here you have connections. So our socket's just before where you are listening. So I'm thinking that we're going to put it here for now. Now I'm unsure of that, so I'm going to leave a little space here. Now when someone connects, so connection socket, you should increment the count before emitting the count. You should increment the count before emitting the count. So you will want to add an incrementer within the connection listener. Connection listener. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is current users. So I'm going to say current users plus equals 1. You can use this plus plus if you want. I like to do it like this because that's the way I am. You could also go is equal to, current users plus 1 or whatever, however you want to do it, but I like the plus equals 1. Finally, after incrementing the count, you should emit the event, still within the connection listener. And the event should be named user count. io.emit user count. Finally, after incrementing the count, you should emit the event, still within the connection listener. So I think this is the connection listener. So still within here, we want to go io emit. We're going to emit the users like that. Current users. So, okay, so io is in here, so this looks right. You start with 0. If current users incremented each time a socket is created. We create a socket, and we run through this one, and then we emit the user count. We update the user count to be equal to what the current user is now. So it went from 0 to 1. Now you can implement a way for your client to listen for this event. Similar to listening for a connection on the server, you will use the on keyword. So socket on user count. So I will save this on the server.js, and then over here, we've got socket.io. We set socket equal to io. And so what we can do now is just copy this into there. And so we'll just log this up. So user count, so socket, which is io, and then we're going to say on user count, which my guess is we emit a user count. So this needs to be the same as this. Then we run a function with data in it, and we're logging the data, console logging the data. Now try loading your app, authenticate, and you should see the client console 1 representing the current user count. Try loading more clients up and authenticating to see the number go up. That's going to be hard to do since we can only do it with GitHub. You'd have to have multiple GitHub accounts. Submit your page when you think you've got it right. All right, so yeah, I think I've got this one right to the point of what we're saying here. So I'm going to go git status. It shows that I've updated these two, and so I'm going to go git add, git commit -m, and we're going to say add user count to socket listener and emitter, git push Heroku master, and so we're going to push it up to here, despite the fact that our server is still not working properly, in my opinion. Yeah, we'll just get back to it after this is done, pushing the code to this server. Okay, now that we've got our code up, I'm going to refresh this page. again, I don't think we're creating users properly, so this isn't going to work right now the way I'm doing it. This is going to give us an internal service error. But let's see what happens if we put it over here. So I'm going to take just the root, the URL of our project and paste it into here. My guess is this will pass. Okay, so however they're testing it, it's working for them, but there's something going on with this guy. The way that we can check for that is we can go Heroku logs -- tail. This goes into a Heroku thing, and it gets us the logs, the server logs of our production server. And as you can see, we've got a mydb.find1 is not a function. That means that we have not set up our database properly. I think that has something to do with us extracting authentication into a separate part. But yeah, I'm hoping that we deal with that in the future. Otherwise, I'll deal with it at the end of these lessons. But for now, we're still passing the tests. And so we do not need to get hung up on trying to solve that issue for now, because this was all about just setting up these emit listeners. So yeah, complete the challenge. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you in the next lesson.